Hey everybody, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Star Player Spotlight. We look at every star player available in Blood Bowl 2020, whether it's Rulebook, Spike Magazine, Forge World release, or, like our buddy Nobbla Blackwart, available in the most recent release from Games Workshop, which is the Almanac 2022. So that landed this week, and inside it is a bunch of star players that have returned from the past that we have been waiting for. We've seen Ripper. Ripper is back. But the other star player that we've been waiting for a little while now is this guy here, the ultimate Goblin Chainsaw, Nobbla Blackwart. Okay, so Nobbla Blackwart can play for Badlands, Brawls, and Underworld Challenge teams. We'll have a look at the teams in a minute. We're going to go through his stats, and then we'll talk through which teams are going to want to take him and why. Now, he comes in at 120,000. That is a little bit more than a standard Goblin Chainsaw, so we're going to have to be looking for some value here. Movement 6, Strength 2, Edge 3+, no passing, and Armor 8+, puts him exactly bang on with a standard Goblin Chainsaw. But he comes with a couple of skills. He's got block, he's got chainsaw, he's got dodge, he's got loner 4+, he's got secret weapon, and he's got stunty. Now, stunty can't be used while you're running around with a chainsaw, so you can't necessarily cage dive the way you want to. But this guy is a blodger. Now, if you've ever played against a chainsaw, the best thing to do when your opponent's got a chainsaw, a bomber, or a ball and chain guy is to blitz him at the earliest opportunity. Ball and chain goes straight out, bomber on the ground, has to spend a turn standing up before they can use the bomb, so regardless of whether you stun them or not, you've cost them at least a turn of no bomb. And a chainsaw is going to use the chainsaw +3 ability when they go down themselves. But this guy having blodge just protects him so much. And if you are a Goblin coach, you will know that the first thing you do on your chainsaw is try to get them those protective skills to keep them alive. It's just so good. So, Nobbla Blackwart, 120k for a secret weapon star player. Now, the standard Goblin Chainsaw is something like 40k. So if you're looking at your roster, you're like, wow, 120k. I can take the normal guy. Yeah, he doesn't have block, but actually, it's fine. It's a chainsaw. He's only on for one drive. Bomber is 50k, where this guy is 120k. So the costing there makes you think this is an expensive chainsaw player. And there's two reasons, I think, that he ends up being this much more expensive than the standard Goblin Chainsaw. The first one is the team access. So if he was just for Goblins, he'd probably be cheaper. It would give you the ability to take those two chainsaws for no money. But Underworld Challenge and Badlands Brawls, there's a ton of teams in there. There's a ton of powerful tier 1 teams in there that if you gave them a 50, 60k chainsaw, it would be a significant issue because they would just be free. 120k, it prices him as, I think, the cheapest of the chainsaw stars. So if you want a chainsaw, you've now got access to a cheaper chainsaw. He's going to be less strong than the others, but he does have blodge, so he's going to be able to kind of hopefully stay alive. 120k. But he does have an extra ability. So his ability, kick him while they're down, once per game, he can chainsaw somebody on the ground. It's not a foul. It's not a blitz. He just gets to wander up to somebody and chainsaw them on the ground. So this is where you kind of get your money back. Because you can use him as a standard chainsaw and he can blitz and 2+, put the chainsaw in there. He can foul and put the +3 chainsaw in there. Good to go. But if you've got a chainsaw, if you've got a dirty player piece, if you want to blitz somewhere else, once per game, if there's someone on the ground within 6 squares of Nobbla, they're getting chainsawed with absolutely, well, I'll say no downside. There's always the chance of rolling kickback and melting yourself, but, it's right. If you're running Goblins, that's not a downside. That's where he becomes really useful. And as the cheapest of the star players for chainsaws, actually he gives you that extra bit of an option. The difficulty is going to be rating him against the other options that you get. And if, for example, you're running a Goblin team, now the chainsaw from the roster is kind of where you want to be, whereas the bomber isn't. So bomber fits the gap you've got. But what it does mean is that this guy can then give you that double chainsaw dream of every Goblin coach. Let's have a look at the teams that can run Nobbla. Okay, so first up is the Badlands Brawls team. So Black Orcs, Goblins, Ogres, Orcs, and in fact, Chaos Dwarfs. Okay, so Goblins, Ogres, Black Orcs, Orcs, and Chaos Dwarves can all take Bomber for 50k. The Goblins can get their own chainsaw, but this is the fun bit. This is where, if you've got that resource, if you've got that amount of cash, you can run this additional secret weapon. Now, a lot of these teams get half-price bribes. Black Orcs and Goblins get, and Ogres don't, but Black Orcs and Goblins get those half-price bribes, so it makes those star players even better because they've got that ability to come back. Basically, what Nobbla's going to give these teams is just a chainsaw player for lower cost. And I'm looking specifically at the Orc and Chaos Dwarf rosters here. Orc and Chaos Dwarf, they don't really need any help. Anything you add to them just makes them even more potent. So we see a lot of Chaos Dwarf with Hackflem for that very reason. Now, when it comes to Orcs, Orcs running a chainsaw gives them a little bit of a Doomblade effect. They just get one drive where they're going to be trying to take out players to help with that attrition battle. I think Milton ran a chainsaw roster at a tournament and had an absolutely brilliant time with 4 blitzers, 4 big gun blockers, and a chainsaw just going in there and just wrecking face. Now, Bomber is kind of filling that gap at the moment at a much reduced price, but the only thing better than 1 secret weapon, murder weapon, would, in my opinion, be 2. And on the other side, you've got the Underworld Challenge teams here. Goblins, Ogres, we've talked about those. Snotlings, Underworld, and Skaven. So those are, Underworld and Snotlings are the best candidates for Hackflem, okay? Skaven don't need Hackflem as much, so this is where we're going to see this star player kind of come in as an alternative. Now, in a tournament environment, there's going to be some people who want to run him along with Bomber for extra fun and just to go absolutely full carnage. He's going to fit that role brilliantly, and a reduced price versus Helmet, I think we're saving 20k. Then is going to make that a lot easier for any tournament, for you to be able to take that, and you can combine him with Helmet to run the triple chainsaw build for Goblins. There will be people that do that at the Bonehead tournaments, and I imagine someone's going to do it for Beachhead next year, because why would you not? It's just too entertaining. Skaven, I like this. And Underworld 2 potentially. Skaven don't really need any help to score. And Underworld, they take Hackflem a lot because it gives them that second gutter runner. So your mileage may vary here, but this is a brilliant add to the Skaven team. They've got the Rat Ogre. And you can take Creek at 170k. You can take Bomber, sure, because, you know, why would you not take Bomber all of the time? But they don't have a lot of punch. We miss Fez Glitch. We only got Fungus the Loon back, I guess, to have that kind of extra bit of muscle. And a chainsaw at that reduced rate of 120 takes him to the point of affordability in a league game more regularly. Okay, if you got 150k, then you're in the market of, okay, the proper thing to do, right, is to take an extra apothecary and a keg to keep my team alive. Well, now you get that flexibility to go, you know what, actually, I think I want to take the chainsaw on my team. I've got a good team. My team can score. What the team can't do necessarily is threaten with removal. Like, I can take Bomber and that's going to be a distraction. But you take the chainsaw and you're paying 120k for that ability to chop things in half, yep. But moreover that, you are warping the game state. If there is a chainsaw or a Bomber on the pitch, your opponent is going to have to warp their game around them. 6 squares, wander in with a blitz. And a chainsaw, it's absolute nightmare fuel for war dancers. So actually, if you can take a Skaven team now with a chainsaw at 120, with Bomber at 50, for 170k you can take Creek, who's going to come back, or you can take Bomber and the chainsaw. Start with the chainsaw, melt things, run Bomber on defense, and you've got a toolkit there that is going to threaten your opponent without actually applying any damage to your own team. And I know I'm a Skaven coach, so I'm kind of thinking about this from a Skaven point of view. Bomber's really good, but this chainsaw at 120k gives you a second big threat at a low cost, and that's going to be really effective. So I think we'll see Bomber in tournament builds a lot because you can fit 50k in while taking a big stack of team, but we'll see this guy come in. We'll see Nobbla arrive in leagues regularly. Now, whether they're going to take him instead of Bomber is unlikely, but at 170k, you're going to see both, I think, quite a lot, especially on those teams that don't get half-price bribes. Okay, so when it comes to running him on the pitch, if there is no Nobbla Blackwart model out from Games Workshop, which there isn't at the moment, you got a few really easy options. The first one is if you've got a Goblin team from Games Workshop, you've picked up the Forge World special weapons kit, or you've converted a guy, or you've got the Torchlight or Punga teams printed off, then you're good to go. You've got a chainsaw that you can sub in. But I did have to highlight this guy who's called Zig the Ripper from Grebo. I love the Grebo goblins. I've picked up a couple of them just to be random goblins for random teams because I like the Pathfinder style faces. They just got so much character. And this is where star players really come into their own. And a star player that's cheap like this one, 120k, you're going to be able to fit in a roster every now and again, and he's going to be really useful, which gives you an excuse to hunt down a model like Zig the Ripper, or to convert your own goblin with a chainsaw, because it's going to be a lot of fun to paint. You got something different. You can treat yourself to a model. I think Zig the Ripper's only like €7 or something. Ooh, I've got the tab open. Magic. Well done, Ben. €8.99. It's a great pickup. The Forge World model's going to be 21 quid, and I think he's going to come with Scrapper Sorehead probably as a dual pack. But I love this model, and it's a great excuse to put him in your basket and put him on your pitch. Okay, so Nobbla is back. The Goblin Stars are back, and Bomber set such a high threshold that Nobbla is going to struggle to compete. But there are going to be times where they combo beautifully. I just kind of talked about it with a Skaven game plan, but that goes true of any other team. Now, when you get into 200k plus territory, you've really got to challenge. Okay, do I want a big guy? Do I want to take Ripper instead? Do I want to take Hackflem instead to help me score? Do I want to just take a bomber with extra bribes? Do I want to take Creek? There's a ton of great options at that point. But now you've got another option. So 170k, Bomber and Nobbla. That's 2 players for 2 drives at least, without arguing the call, without being able to buy bribes. You've got a chainsaw for offense, you've got a bomber for defense, and 170, if you think about them as a team together, that's a really, really juicy idea. Bomber's better because he's 50k, but at 120k, Nobbla is going to fit a very useful slot, and I'm very excited to see him back in the game. Anyway, let me know what you think about Nobbla in this edition. Is he up to stuff? Is it going to work for your team? And we'll be back again soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy chainsawing. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the channel even further, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Or come join us on YouTube members or in Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to some content, some loot, early access to basically everything we do, as well as regular competitions. Or you can pick up some Bonehead Podcast loot either on our website at boneheadpodcast.com. We've got the Dungeon Bowl things, we've got tokens and stuff like that, or on our Spreadshirt site as well. Everything you do just helps us make more content and hopefully do it of better quality. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.